that time. Well, hello everyone. I'm going to go over what materials we're going to need because we are doing Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. And we have it right behind me. As you can see, look at those brush strokes. That is what we're going to mimic today with our oil pastels. So to make our Vincent van Gogh Starry Night, we're going to need our oil pastels. We're going to need some oil pastels. And you're going to need a sheet of black paper, 6 by 9. Smaller the better because your hand's going to get really tired making all of those little brush strokes. We're not using brushes, but that's what I'm going to call it. We're just using little lines, strokes with our hands to get all of this movement and texture. So, I was just playing a song, you might have been able to hear it, about Vincent van Gogh, and maybe we can listen to it a little bit later today also. We're going to start by, I'm going to share some of his artwork, a little history about him, and then we're going to jump into the art. This is a very time-consuming project, because look at all that little detail. So I want to get started as soon as possible. Let me just share my, he lived from 1853 to 1890, so the invention of the camera was relatively new. So here's a photograph of Vincent van Gogh. Then we have a portrait, a painting he did of himself. As you can see, he's using little strokes of paint, and that is a hallmark of post-impressionism. So impressionists don't just color it in, they kind of use little strokes. And then the third portrait is of him when he was hospitalized, and behind him, this is what I really like about this picture where he's wearing the black hat. Right behind him, you can see what he does in his room, in his hospital room. He has an easel, and he also has a Japanese print. If you look right behind him, his face, you're going to see a poster, and that is a print from Japan. Alright, talking about Japan and Vincent van Gogh, Japan was closed off to the rest of the world for a very, very long time. And then when trading happened with Japan in the 1800s during his lifetime, we Europeans and Americans got to see a lot of Japanese art we never saw before. So this is called the Great Wave by Yakusama. So the Great Wave is a very famous print from Japan. It's extremely famous, and it was very popular during Van Gogh's lifetime. And if you look closely, you can see where he was inspired. He might have had a print of this very wave, and maybe that inspired him to do the spiral we see in Starry Night. So a lot of art historians believe that he gets a lot of inspiration from Japanese prints. So here we have a finished picture, and this is what we are going to do today. As you notice, we're doing a lot of small strokes, and we are going to do a warm-up. I have something called the Fibonacci golden ratio, or spiral, and as you can see, we see a lot of spirals in his artwork, and that is what's going to guide us today. So our warm-up is basically doing the spiral, or the Fibonacci sequence, and then making the brush strokes, or the small dashes, that Vincent van Gogh is known for, Impressionism is known for. So let's go ahead. We're going to find our paper. We're going to write our name at the bottom. And we are also going to put the date, which is 10/10/25. It's always important to put your date on your artwork. Almost as important as putting your name. Now I have this little card right here, and this is actually used for photography, and sometimes when you want to make something look pleasing to the eye, you want the focal point to be at the center of this spiral. So sometimes people put this on their camera lens, and it helps them make a composition that is pleasing to the eye. And what I want you to notice about the spiral is that it's in a rectangle, just like this is in a rectangle, And it starts not in the corner, but a little farther from the corner. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to zoom up right here. Notice that the green line starts not at the edge of the rectangle, but a little in. So let's start with that. I want you to get your white oil pastel, and we're going to start right here in the corner, my right, to the right. And we're going to do a large spiral, and everything's going to kind of congregate and become smaller towards this end, Your spiral is in the center. It's actually kind of a little farther down, like a wave or a shell off of a snail. And we want this large. Look at how large I did this. Alright, and this is what's going to make your hand so tired today. What I'm going to suggest is you're not going to have a really strong grip. You're going to have a light grip, and you're just going to make dashes that go all the way to the center. And you're going to do that on both sides. Find what's comfortable for you, because we're going to be doing a lot of these dashes today. We're going to do more, and then you come here and you start doing dashes. Make long dashes, make short dashes. Overlap the dashes. Don't think about it too much, just add dashes all around, mimicking the spiral. There's no real wrong way. The only thing I don't want you to do is keep drawing it like this, when one long line. We want little short lines, not long, one long line, just little short ones. And we're following this around. Now I'm going to ask you to find any color, any other color. It could be blue, could be pink, could be red, brown, green, any other color. We're going to do the same thing. I just want you to see that we need to follow the spiral with the dashes. And you're going to try to fill in that negative space. Anywhere you see the black paper, try to fill it up with color. So look for space in between the dashes and fill up the blank spaces with more dashes. We got to get used to doing this kind of stroke with our hand. I'm calling it a brush stroke, even though we're not using brushes. Alright, let me give everyone a little more time to finish that. Look how I'm trying to fill in any gap where there is black paper showing through. I'm not coloring in like this. Just little dashes. We're doing little dashes, just like that. We're not coloring in like this. Okay, I'm going to give you about 2 more seconds. Look at how we've created a spiral, just like the Fibonacci sequence, or the golden ratio. It's a few different names. Alright, on the count of 3, we're going to flip it over. And 1, 2, and 3. Flip over your page. And we need to take a quick look at our Starry Night. Our Starry Night has a large cypress tree. Cypress trees they look kind of like bushes, but they're trees, and they're very tall and skinny. They're often near orchards to block wind. Look at our spirals in the night sky. Look at how the moon is actually smaller than our spiral. Often students want to draw the moon being the focal point. It's not the focal point. It's actually that wave-like shape right here. The very last thing we're going to do is add some houses. That's our last step. Notice how the horizon line is at a diagonal. The horizon line is not straight across. It's at a what? A diagonal. Alright, so we're going to start with the cypress tree. We're going to make a diagonal horizon line, and we're going to start with the moon. Those are the 3 things we're going to start with. So we're going to start with the cypress tree. I want you to find a your white oil pastel. We're going to outline everything in white so we don't lose it on the page. And I want you to come to this side of your paper. You're going to be starting 2 fingers away. Put a dot 2 fingers away. And on this side, you want another dot that is 3 fingers away from the top. So I'm going to show you that one more time. Our first dot is right here, 2 fingers from the side. I'm moving across on the other side. I'm going up, and this is 3 fingers from the top. So we want this dot on the right side of this dot. So it should be about 3 fingers away from the side of the paper. And we're going to start right here at this dot, and we're going to make 2 wavy lines, and they're going to kind of separate at the bottom. So just watching me, eyes on me, in 3, 2, 1. Do a wavy line, and another wavy line. Look how it's pointy at the top and larger at the base. Okay, your turn. Your cypress should be starting about 3 fingers away from the edge of your paper. We're going to put another dot right on top that is about halfway point, about the halfway point. So this one will be shorter. This cypress tree is shorter than our first cypress. We're going to do the same thing. You do a wavy line, make it a point. It's larger at the base. Our next cypress tree is going to be a little taller than this one, but not as tall as our first one. Taller than our second one, but not as tall as our first cypress tree. So it's the medium-sized cypress tree. And it's okay if they overlap. It's okay if there's some overlap. We're going to do a diagonal line that comes up here, and our diagonal line is going to be wavy. So I'm just going to have you watch me. Your oil pastel is down, your eyes are on the screen in 3, you're just watching in 2, just watching me in 1. I'm going to get 2 fingers on this side of the cypress tree, and I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to go all the way across, and I'm going to put 4 fingers and make a dot. This is going to be a diagonal line. So watching me, I'm just going to make a wavy line. I didn't make a straight horizon line. I made a wavy one. I did skip through my cypress trees, stopping and skipping. So this is about 4 fingers. This is about 2 fingers. Go ahead, your turn. Don't make a straight line. Make sort of a wavy line. It should be at a diagonal. See how it's going up. Alright, I want you to come to this corner over here. You're going to do about 2 fingers, and you're going to make another diagonal line that is wavy. It's about 2 fingers, and it drops down. It's a diagonal line. Every time I've taught this lesson, students want to make the moon as large as you can. The moon really isn't the focal point, so our moon's going to be about 3 fingers to 2 fingers. And the way I'm going to show you how to do a crescent moon, because in Starry Night it is a crescent moon, so I'm going to zoom in over here. I'm just going to have you watch me first. I'm going to draw a circle that is roughly 3 fingers. So about 3 fingers. So go ahead, your turn. Look how close I am to the corner. I'm putting it right in the corner. This actually balances out our artwork because we have the cypress tree over here, which is a very dark color, and then we have the moon over here, which is about the same size, and it's a lot brighter. Alright, I need you to find a dot at the top and a dot that's not in the middle but a little farther up. So, I put a dot that's right in the center at the top, and then this is where the center is, but I'm moving a little towards the right, a little towards the edge of my paper. And I'm just going to have you watch me. This is why we did this. I'm going to start here. I also like to put a dot that's about 1 finger away from the edge of the circle, so 1 finger away from this edge. And watching me, that's going to help me make a crescent moon. Alright, your turn. So what I did is I put a dot at the very top of the circle. I followed my hand all the way down, didn't put a dot there. I moved a little farther and placed a dot. Then I placed one more dot right here, 1 finger length away. So there's a curve. There's a curve. We're mapping everything out with a white oil pastel, anything that is a light color, like light blue or white. And now it's time to get our Fibonacci sequence. So ours is going to start right about here, right by our cypress tree. And I'm just going to have you watch me, okay guys? It's very important to be step by step with me, so don't jump ahead. We are going to do this together, so just watching me. Are you ready? The spiral is going to be right about here, and it's large. It's the largest thing in our artwork, in our piece right here. I'm going to start over here, just like how we start here. And just like our warm-up, I'm going to do a spiral. Okay, your turn. Look at how large that is. It's big. Alright, if we look at our starry night, there is actually 2 spirals. So we have to do a smaller spiral here. So if we look at our spiral, it's going to start here in the center and move its way and make a spiral. So we're going to find the center of our first spiral and then create a second spiral that is coming from underneath. So watching me, I'm starting right about here. Just watching me. You don't have to do anything. I just need your eyes on the screen. So we're going to watch me in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go following the spiral and making a smaller spiral. Just like that. Okay, your turn. It's like 2 waves. Just like Yakusama's Great Wave, which people believe he probably owned because he had a lot of Japanese prints in his collection, and he was very inspired by Japanese artwork. Fun fact, Vincent van Gogh only sold 1 piece of artwork during his entire lifetime. He would actually paint so often, he would paint nearly a painting every day. He painted very fast. Okay, now it is time to practice our dashed line. Okay? Just like we did in the warm-up, we're going to do white dashed lines, and we want to cover this as much as possible. So we're going to add dashes to our spiral, to both of them. We're adding dashes. Don't go over your cypress tree. Be careful not to add dashes inside your cypress tree. So you're going to move around your cypress tree. Place them right on top of each other. Place them overlapping. I should see short, little dashed lines. Short, little dashed lines. Just like we did in the warm-up. Just like Impressionists did with their paintbrushes. They didn't just color it in. They didn't color things in or paint things like this. No, they used little marks like this to cover the entire page, okay? So I don't want to see any of this. We need to practice this. That is a technique in artwork with small brush strokes, very small dashes, just like Impressionist painters would do. Monet would do this, Vincent van Gogh, plenty of artists. So just focus on the spirals for right now. Place them in between. And when you think you have enough, you don't have enough. Add more! You can't have enough dashes. We're trying to fill up the entire page. Don't worry, we are going to use other colors besides white. Don't worry. I just like to put our light colors first. We're working from light to dark because our paper is already dark. If your hand is getting tired, that means you're holding your oil pastel too tightly. Lighten up your grip. Lighten up your grip. Okay. We're going to add straight horizontal lines right here. So find this area right underneath your moon, and we're going to do straight horizontal lines. We're also going to do straight horizontal lines right here in this little section, this tiny little hill. Remember, we're not just coloring it in. You have to do dashes. And now we get to do my favorite part after this. We get to add some stars. So, if we look at our stars are up at the top. We're going to do 2 larges and maybe 3 small stars. Vincent van Gogh, interestingly, made the stars look a lot like galaxies, which was really puzzling to scientists because telescopes weren't strong enough back then to show galaxies. Alright, so we're going to do a big dot here, a little dot here, a little dot here, maybe a big dot here. So you're just adding a few stars. Once you have your stars, you're going to make circular dashes around them. They're moving in the opposite direction. They're moving in a circular direction around your star. We're working from light to dark. Don't worry, we're going to move to a different color soon. We just need to add little dots or little strokes to our star. We're going to color in the moon, and now we get to switch to blue. So I need you to find all 3 blues, a light blue, medium blue, and dark blue, after you color in your moon. So I have my light blue, my dark blue, and the blue that's in between. If you don't have 3 blues, that's okay. Just have at least 2, a light and a dark. But if you have 3, let's use all 3. We're going to kind of stay away from the moon. We're going to work towards our spirals once again. We're going to start with the darkest color, and you're going to place the dark color on top of and in between the spiral. Try not to color inside the cypress tree. All you're doing is adding little dashes, just like the Impressionists did with their paintbrushes, following our spirals. Lay them in between the whites, lay them on top of the whites, let them mix. And we want to try to cover up all of the black paper. We want these close together, not far apart. And if your hand hurts, remember it's probably because you have a really strong grip. Lighten up your grip. You don't have to press down as hard. So Vincent van Gogh would paint daily when he was in France, when he was hospitalized, and he was in a very remote village in France with lots of vineyards, lots of nature, and this painting was actually painted from his window, so his bedroom window. They didn't have electricity where he was, so they used gas lamps. So for a long time we were wondering, did he paint this during the nighttime? Did he paint this during the day? And what historians believe is that he just woke up really, really early, right before the sun came up, and started painting. And he probably finished this painting within 1 to 2 days. Okay, I added some dark blue here. And once you have your spiral, what we're going to do is stay away from the moon, and we're going to start in this corner, and we're going to make short horizontal lines with the dark blue. So we're going against the stars and against the spiral, and we're doing short horizontal lines. Like this, horizontal. This is vertical, we're doing horizontal. I know it's a little hard to see with this camera, but I'll show you with the other colors shortly. So you're going to do some dark blue, then you're going to get your other blue and do some, maybe you can see these ones a little bit better. Then you can see these better. And you're going to get your other blue and do the same thing we did with all the dark blue. Place them in between, place them on top. We're doing short horizontal lines all the way across the top of our artwork. Don't forget over here. They're going in the opposite direction of our spiral. And then you get to add dashes into your spiral again with the other blue. Think about layering them on top. Think about the negative space. Try to fill in all the gaps. Trying to fill up all the black paper. We're trying to not let any of the black paper through. But we're only using dashes. We're only using dashes. So I'm adding my dark blue, the second blue, not the darkest, but the medium blue. I'm adding dashes on top of the white, on the black page, filling in all of this space. I know your hand's probably getting real tired, but if Vincent van Gogh can paint his entire painting in one day, you can finish this in 20 minutes. You're going to be like a professional artist. Takes a lot of hard work. So, I have dark blue, I have my medium blue, and the last one I have to do is my light blue. I'm going to pause here to give everyone some time. So I have white in my spiral. I have the darkest blue and the medium blue. So I have both the cobalt blue and the dark blue in my spiral. Here towards the stars, I have my dark blue and my cobalt blue. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add light blue along, trying to fill in that space in between. These might be even smaller little dashes. The fun thing about this is the room is really quiet. If you guys are really quiet, let's see if we can get to a 0. If you guys are really quiet, you can hear all the pitter-patter of everyone's pencils, or I should say oil pastels, working. So let's see if we can get to a 0. And if everyone's working, you should hear the pitter-patter. Kind of sounds like rainfall. Let's see if we can hear that. Does your room sound like there's water or rainfall? It should. If everyone is at a 0, super quiet, you're going to be able to hear everyone working. It's going to make a pitter-patter sound like rain. Finally, time to switch colors. I'm going to give everyone some time to finish with the light blue. So we should have used all 3 shades of blue. Okay? We should use all 3 shades of blue. And now we need to find yellow, rusty yellow, and orange. As you can see, they are cool tones and warm tones. Cool tones and warm tones. That gives that visual confusion to our brain that the video was talking about, called luminescence. Okay? These are these contrasting colors, so when your brain sees them, it looks like they're moving. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and start with yellow, and we're going to make yellow dashes inside the moon, and these dashes are going to go all the way into the blue. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. So, I'm going in a circle and adding these dashes that are blending into the blue. Look how they are overlapping. Small little dashes are overlapping in the blue. Okay? Add a whole bunch of little dashes in here, just as if you were an impressionist artist. And you're going to add dashes inside the moon, coloring the moon yellow. And little dashes. So after you use some yellow dashes, use some white dashes. They should all be going in a circular motion. If you have stars in the way, that's okay. That's okay. I'm adding white little dashes. So, interesting, Vincent van Gogh, like I said, would paint a painting nearly every day and finish it. So, he didn't have a lot of canvases. He was all the way in a rural part, that means not near the city, in France. So he was born in Poland, but he spent a lot of time in France. That's where he made Starry Night and a lot of his other famous paintings. And he didn't have a lot of canvases, so it's actually quite impressive, and it's kind of a miracle that this painting even survived, because often he would repaint over his artwork. So there might be hundreds of other beautiful Starry Night artworks that we will never see because he painted over them. Alright, with your yellow, you're going to find your stars, and you're going to add yellow dashes around and inside your stars. So, find your star, you should have a few of them, and you're adding yellow right on top of the white dashes and in between the white dashes, going in a circular motion, okay guys? So we're not going like this, we're doing dashes like that. Okay, do we see the difference here? We're not going like this in one motion. We have to pick up our hand, and make a spiral. And that's what we're doing with our stars. And don't be afraid, let those stars blend in the opposite direction with our other dashes. This is not an easy painting, that's why it's so famous. You might think, oh, I could do Starry Night. Nope, there is a lot of technical aspects to this painting. So be proud of yourself for even attempting it. The cool thing about this project is also they're not all going to look the same, which I enjoy. I don't want all the Starry Nights to look the same. Vincent van Gogh already made one. So, we're making our own. It's more interesting to make it your own than to just copy completely. Because we have printers, we have cameras. We don't need the same exact Starry Night. We already have a Starry Night. I want your Starry Night. So if it doesn't look exactly like mine or Vincent's, that's okay. I think that's a good thing. So I've added yellow and white. I've added yellow and white to my stars. I'm going to go ahead and find my rusty yellow. And with the rusty yellow, this is a good time. If you don't like the shape of your crescent moon, this is where you can correct it. So I'm just going to kind of outline the moon. I'm just doing an outline. Do a nice thick outline. Maybe add a little bit of rusty yellow in that circular motion. Maybe add a little bit of rusty yellow to the stars. Not as much as you did with yellow, but a little bit. Add a little bit of rusty yellow to your stars and to the moon. Not a lot, just a little bit. Go right on top of the yellow. Go right on top of the blue. We want this to all mix and mingle together. Okay. What I'm going to have you do now is find your orange, and you're going to outline your moon one more time. Make it a little darker with the orange. Maybe add a few marks of orange in your moonlight in that circular motion. Maybe add a few dashes of orange in the star. Little marks. Now we're adding orange. We did rusty yellow. Now we're doing orange. Orange and blue look really good together because they're complementary colors. So it's going to really make it pop. This is what your night sky, the starry night, should look like. We got white, yellow, rusty yellow, orange. Look how I'm going right on top of the blue. It's like two of them overlapping. Once you feel like you have enough orange, find your dark green. And we're going to do long little marks that are going to be going horizontal. So there's this big blank space right here. And in this big blank space, we're going to be doing long, straight, horizontal lines. And I mean a lot of them. We're not coloring in like this. Remember, we're just making long horizontal lines like that. Okay, so over here, add a lot of long horizontal lines. Let them overlap. And that is all green. Let's see if I turn it. There we go. Now you can kind of see the green. I need you to find your two dark blues and your light blue, so you're going to get all three blues. Cobalt blue, dark blue, and the light blue. And we're going to start with the darkest color first. We're going to do the same thing, long, horizontal lines. Some of them are overlapping, some of them are in between. Add a lot of them. When you think you have enough, you don't. You don't have enough. Add more. Can't have too many. Impossible to have too many. Because the goal here is to try to cover up as much of the black paper as possible. You're going to get your second dark blue, and we're going to add less of this. So we're not going to add as much, we're just going to add a little bit. So less of this, less of the lighter blue. Not as much as we did of the green. The last thing we're going to do is the house. What we're going to do right now is the cypress tree. We're going to focus on the cypress tree, that very first thing we did. So once you're done adding green, dark blue, cobalt blue, we are going to go ahead and come to the cypress tree. Oh, I skipped a step. I'm sorry. We're going to get light blue and add light blue dashes to this little mountain range right here. So we put white here earlier. Now we're just putting light blue. Just like that. In fact, you could put a little bit of dark blue too. But not as much. We want more of the light blue. Now it looks like we have this river or valley. It's really separating these two spaces. This is our horizon line. Even though the horizon line isn't straight across, it is at a diagonal, it's still a horizon line. So we're going to zoom in to our cypress tree. Okay, here's our cypress tree. And what I'm going to have you do first is find your darkest blue. And this is the one and only time we get to color like this. This time we're not doing dashes. So if you're happy and you don't like dashes, this is your favorite part, because we just have to go up and down like a lawnmower, like we would normally when we color. We're not using the same technique we've been doing. I just need you to get that color on those cypress trees. So we are going up and down like a lawnmower. We're not doing dashes. We're not doing dashes. This is the only time you're not doing dashes. Make sure that the cypress trees are touching, they're overlapping. Color them in with the darkest blue. You're going to grab your other blue, your cobalt blue, and you're going to add some lighter blue in there. You still want to see some of the dark blue, so just put like a stripe in the center. I'm adding a lighter stripe in the center. I'm keeping the dark and then just a light stripe in the center. With inside the center, we're going to add a little more of the light blue. Whose hand's hurting? Mine is. If it's hurting, you just got to lighten up your grip. I use the dark blue. I use the stripe of cobalt blue, and then I use my light blue, and I'm going to just kind of outline the shape. We're not done yet. I need you to go ahead and find a black oil pastel. Find your black oil pastel, and we need to create a shadow. So we're going to pick one side for the shadow. I'm going to pick my left side. So I'm going to have you just watch. If you're still coloring your cypress tree, or if you're still working on the green, that's okay. I just need your eyes up here, okay? Eyes on me in 3, 2, 1. I'm picking one side, and I'm adding a black thick line to one side. Watch me. Same side, other cypress tree. And we're going to bring it all the way down. Same side, other cypress tree. Okay? You're going to add a shadow. Okay, your turn. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm trying to make it a little darker. Okay. going to give everyone some time to finish their cypress tree. Might want to add a little bit of highlight on the other side. And then we're going to do our little buildings. And there's a little steeple, which is the most iconic, and it kind of goes towards the center of our spiral. So it's going towards the center of our spiral. And we're going to add little yellow windows. And the houses are going to get smaller, so they're larger, medium, small. So the steeple is right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here, and the house is about the size of my finger, and it's right underneath our spiral. And I'm going to draw 2 lines that are about the size of my finger, and I'm going to give it a roof. Then I'm going to come up about 2 fingers and do a little triangle and a little door. Now, it is your turn. You're going to add houses. Pretty simple looking houses. Nothing too crazy. Put some of them behind. And they're going to get smaller and smaller. And you just need like 5 or 6 houses. You don't need a lot of them. Just little squares and triangles. Alright, what we're going to do is find our yellow, and we're going to add little lights inside our house. Every house gets a little light. And then I like to use light blue, and I like the kind of color in the house and the steeple very lightly. It's kind of messy, but that's okay. That's what it looks like. It's what we want. It's a little messy. I did put this example on my website. I also emailed it to you in case you have a student who didn't finish. I'm going to move my camera just in case there are any students who want to show off their artwork. There we go. Amazing. Alrighty, guys. Bye. Have a good weekend. I'll see you next Friday. Goodbye.